And I'm actually going to get right into it. And you really want to know how. You know, how can I blaze my own path? How can I be successful? How can I follow the path that someone else has laid for me to be successful?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 227 of Campus Cuts. Today, I have a great guest, a special guest. She is a journalist. She's Black. She's proud. No, but she's super intelligent. Somebody that I've loved all the stuff that she has wrote whenever a time. No, written. Gosh, she can't talk. Has written during her time at Baylor University. You know, she's a light. She's a source of light, and somebody that I've seen from afar. It's unfortunate because our paths never really crossed like that during that time at Baylor, but it's always been good to see what she's been doing and how she's moving. She's also a content creator, a bookworm, and somebody that you're going to see within the next couple years. I guarantee this. We're going to be looking back at this and saying, like, this is the start. The interviewer is being interviewed.
I know, this is weird. I was thinking of
Savannah Cooper, welcome to the show.
Hello. Yes, it's weird being on the other side of it, but I need to embrace this more. But hello, Tanaka. I'm so excited.
I'm super excited that you're here. I'm so grateful that you're here. Yeah, how does it feel? How does it feel to be interviewed? Like, I know that a lot of people, whenever they're being they're always doing the interviewing, especially you doing journalism and communications. How does it feel?
Yeah, it was kind of weird, like when you reached out and some of the questions and everything. I was like, oh, this is how it feels. Like, this is the other side, because people always get so nervous, and I was just like, oh, I need to do research. I need to get ready. But I was like, oh, it's me. Like, I just show up and talk about myself. But I like it, though. I like seeing how other people interview and just experiencing it. So it does feel a little bit weird, but I like it. I'm trying to get comfortable on the other side.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to let you know, I don't have any journalism background whatsoever. So I hope that you are not secretly judging me.
Yeah, no judgment. That's what I was about to say. I was like, no judgment at all.
But yeah, so as I said, off recording, welcome to Campus Cuts. This is a multi-generational, multicultural show that is just dedicated for faculty, students, staff. But honestly, forget the faculty, student, staff, but just people to be able to chop it up from all walks of life. I wanted to create a platform where we just people that I really think that are dope, and I just want to be able to have a sit down and have a conversation with them. And it is completely transformed. I've never expected anything from this, like just the amount of good conversation, like honesty, transparency. It's crazy. And I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love talking. I love going deeper than the surface. So, and also just seeing you doing your stuff and how you moved, I'm like, man, I have to get her on. And so.
Isn't it crazy though, like when you start putting something out and just seeing the reaction from people and getting the response back and the feedback of just something you're creating in your room, and it's crazy how it can really touch people.
Right. Yeah. See, even at Baylor, I only did one episode in the studio down in Moody. It was all done in the basement of the sub. There's the office, there's the NPHC office. So it was me, a table, and the iPhone. And I was just like, press record. And that's how we pushed it through the beginning. Like, I mean, I was just like, man, this is so ratchet. And now we step up a little bit.
Real bootleg. Humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, I want to get it started. So the very first thing, what is your name, your year, your major, or what did you graduate with, and what you're going into, and then your hometown?
Yeah, so it's weird when you say, major and year, hesitant on that. I have to start transitioning into, I'm no longer a college student, I'm a college graduate. So yes, I'm part of class 2020. My name is Savannah Cooper. I am a recent grad of Baylor University. Shouts to class 2020, whoop whoop. I studied at Baylor journalism and French. And hometown, I kind of moved around a lot growing up, so I have two places that are near and dear to my heart. Charlotte, North Carolina is where I lived for my high school years. but really born and bred in the DMV, which is the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Lived in all three, and then came out to Texas for college.
Oh,
So I
wow.
kind of, it depends on honestly, like the context and the conversation of what I answer as hometown, but that's the full answer though.
Ah, interesting. So, oh wait,
Um,
where are you right now? Are you in North Carolina?
no, I'm in Waco. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so when are you moving out?
Right, I know. Yeah, it's like weird. Yeah, so July 31st, when the lease ends, we had a July versus a May end. Me and my roommate. And so now that I know I'm gonna go, well, it was things were a little rocky. Just
Right.
2020 as a whole was real rocky, especially just leaving college in general. But leaving college to a pandemic is even more rocky.
Right.
But now, thankfully, as of earlier this month, that I just announced the other day, I'll be pursuing a master's degree and going to Paris, France, which I'm super excited for, a dream come true. So I'll be leaving Texas mid-August and heading out.
Wow.
So moving out here July 31st, and then either gonna hang out with my roommate's parents at their house, or just going back to my grandparents' house in the DMV. That's
Okay.
exciting.
Shout out to the DMV. We got people. We got
Right, yes.
we got Wale, we got Gold Link. People, great artists that come out of there. There's a great culture that surrounds it.
It's more than politics. I always tell people like DMV is more than politics. Great food, good art, like so much more.
There's a whole lot. There's a whole story. I mean, of course, I've been to DC for a couple times. One for this thing. But when you go to DC, like you think okay, the center of the hill. Life is so much bigger than that.
It's so much, and that's just Northwest. Like it's so much more. But I mean, it's easy to see why people would associate with that. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're just gonna talk like how you graduate. You are literally, the word is unprecedented.
Right. Word of the year.
Like for the year 2020, you are a 2020 grad. It's 2020 vision. The vision has become clear. A lot of things have been exposed. So for you as a graduate, first off, like congratulations on graduating. That is definitely a big deal. How does it feel to have graduated in the way that you did graduate?
It's really surreal. I remember reading this Times article, and it was just talking about how college is supposed to be like, the ending of college is to be like this great closure before you enter adulthood, and we're really been robbed of that. And so it's just like we're entering adulthood, we're entering the real world this time, because college is kind of like a safety net, a good in between high school and real world. And that safety net has really just been wiped from under us. And it's just surreal, but also giving me great perspective of just the past 4 years, what I've learned of just I keep losing my train of thought. Oh wait, can we start over? Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm taking. Oh no, this is actually like something I lost my train of thought. Oh no. Okay, let me back up totally. The reason why I'm so hesitant with that was because I wasn't supposed to graduate this semester.
Really?
I was supposed to graduate December 2019.
Oh.
So yeah, that's really why. So it's a whole. Do you want to go into that? Should I get into that?
You come in 2016?
Yeah, I was gonna graduate early.
Oh.
So I'm an overachiever and a workaholic, first of the minutes. And so I came in with a bunch of high school credits, AP classes, and I got into journalism classes my first semester here. So I was able to graduate a semester early, so I thought. And so the plan was to graduate December 21st of 2019, and then start working at AT&T February 3rd.
Oh.
There was a series of events that all was wiped away. It was taken from me. And so I was really taking a step back and I had 6 credits left, right? So with those 2 classes, Brit and American Literature, I wasn't able to walk. I wasn't able to graduate. And so I was just really in this limbo of confusion of what to do. So I ended up taking them through MCC, and through taking them online and everything, oh my gosh, Tanaka, I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Get into me. I'm so flustered right now. I don't know what's wrong.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm so sorry. I never get like this. I don't know why. My heart's like racing.
No, the interviewer has been interviewed.
I don't know what was getting into me. I don't know. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. It's
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
no reason to apologize.
Let me get some water. One sec. Let me just chill.
Remember, it's chill. It's all chill.
Oh my god, can we really start over? I'm so sorry. Like, I just don't know if I could keep going like this.
Yeah.
Can we just cut this out?
Yeah. I'm gonna edit it.
Okay.
This will be edited.
I don't know what's getting into me, bro. That was it. I was like, oh, okay. And I just stopped and I just have I'm off the chart ever since. Oh, I don't know what's wrong.
There's something like, I mean, I guess like, did something happen in between, or is it just like?
It just, I don't know, I just looked out the window and then I didn't see anything. I just looked out the window and then it just like my focus and everything just like went off track. I think in like last night was rough too. I had like a rough night of sleep. So I think it's a lot been on my mind lately. So I think it's just all of that kind of coming back. And I had a really big headache this morning. But oh, I'm so sorry. This is so unprofessional. Oh my gosh.
Nah, bro.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, we're just here. You're just here.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Your question was about class of 2020.
Yeah.
So yeah, so my story is really unconventional. You want me to go into it, like the whole thing?
No, absolutely. I was like, okay, yeah. How did you even get to Baylor? Like, you talk about it.
Okay.
It's about you.
Oh my gosh, I don't know why. Why am I nervous? Why am I freaking out?
Wait, first off, have you ever told your story? That's the real question.
I think I have not. I think that's why.
Yeah, there we go. And I mean, shoot. I mean, why not?
Yeah. I've never really shared. I'm not really like, oh gosh, this is turning therapy, but I very much will like promote other people and share other people's stories, but I'm very reserved with my own. So I think that's maybe why I'm like getting this way, because I just haven't shared all of this publicly like this before. I mean, like my close friends and family know, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, you remember, you can. It's open forum. You can go as far as open. Remember, all I want to do is just highlight you. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. I just never really talked about this in a minute. Okay. I'm trying to find the right words, I guess. I'm trying to. I'm so sorry.
Good.
I don't know why. Oh my gosh, this is not going how I thought. Okay.
All expectations, let it go. We're here.
Yeah. I've been really struggling with that too in quarantine. Like, I realized that I really put so much pressure on myself and try to live up to expectations, and it really eats at me.
Right.
But I like suppress that by working even more. Right. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just keep, man. Okay. All right. Can you ask the question again? Let's just try to.
So, the class of 2020, you said you were supposed to graduate early, but then after that, but then you decided to take some class, English, American, and British literature at MCC. See, I'm listening. I'll listen.
Details.
And then after that, so you decided to come back to complete your, I guess, your graduation. No, your victory lap. Your victory lap.
Thank you. Okay, so yes, so when you just asked about how it feels to be a part of the class of 2020 and just a year of uncertainty and unprecedentedness, I wasn't initially supposed to be a part of this class. I did come in fall of 2016 and just came in with a lot of credit, so I was able and given the opportunity to graduate early.
Right.
With the opportunity to graduate early, I was super excited. I was like, oh, that'd be great. Like, ending and then start a new decade, a new chapter of my life, post-college on. So a month to the day, November 21st, I found out. So I did this thing. It was a bit of a risk. You gotta risk it. A calculated risk. I took 2 CLEP exams to earn my credit for Brit and American literature, rather than taking them through Baylor or taking them like online.
Right.
I pay my own way through school. I have been financially independent since 2017, and so it was just a cost-effective option for me. So, but it was a great risk of like either pass fail. But I did well in AP in high school, and the same people who make College Board, same people who make AP credits and the AP exams make the CLEP exams. So I was like, oh, okay, like I'll be good. I'll study up. I had to get a 50, and I got a 49. I got a 49. And it's one of those things where it's like you can't debate that. You can't be like, oh, see, like hold up, like it was just what, like it's either pass fail. It's numbers don't lie. Check the scoreboard. So I found that out on the November 21st, and December 21st is graduation. So I'm freaking out, panicking. Call my family up. I'm like, cancel the flights, cancel the hotels. Graduation's not happening. Then fast forward a few weeks later, I learned that Baylor is offering for the first time in school history, or maybe it wasn't the first time in school history, but in recent histories, non-certified commencement, meaning that you can walk across the stage, get your diploma, or just get, go through the ceremonial aspects of graduation, but not be fully done with your diploma. So since I only had 6 credits left, right, exactly, I was like, hold on, well, what's this? I also only had 6 credits left. I was like, I'm less than 10. Like, come on, like I'm there. Like, I'm right there. Like you're right there. That if you run track, like it's that moment. You run the 400 or something. You're like, you're so close. You see your coach, but you just like, it's so far. I was right there, and so I was like, maybe like in a weird way, this is God. Like, what are you doing? He'll come through. And I was like, asking. I was like, I can, 6 credits left. I will take them online during the winter semester. Finish my degree, still start at AT&T February 3rd. Because of the fact that I would have been transferring them in versus having to be an incomplete or withdrawal from a Baylor course, I couldn't qualify. So I go to the Bear Fair, I buy the cap and gown, I take grad pictures, me and my roommate had a party, whole 9 yards ready to go, and I wasn't able to do that. And then on top of that, this is all the same day. So I wasn't able to walk. I learned that the classes that I was signed up for at MCC and as well as Eastfield and through Dallas, since you can't take 2 mini-mesters in the same semester, I had to do it at 2 different schools. They both denied me for my ACT scores weren't the official certified, and I sent it to an email in all caps versus all lowercase, and that didn't meet them. It only tip of the iceberg. Like, have you heard of that? Like, it was literally like, because it was all, so that was one reason. Then
Murphy's Law is coming at you.
It was so bad. I was getting so flustered because it was just old memories coming back. So those 2 things, right? Then for the AT&T job, it was in sales, and so they needed, I guess you're supposed to be driving around. I don't own a car, never have. But I do have my license, or at least I thought I did. Tell me why my license this whole time was a permit, Tanaka. A permit. I could literally, hold on, let me go get it for you real quick.
Yo!
I will show you. Look at this. This is a permit. Let me cover my information. And my picture goes good.
Wow.
It says driver's license. This is a permit.
Wow.
So I lost my AT&T job offer. I wasn't gonna walk. I was not able to take the classes online like I planned, and then it's just like, sorry. Oh, and then I got accused of plagiarism in one of my classes, so I had to like fight for my life on that because it was my last semester. So it all happened on my mom's 50th birthday. I'll never forget. I think that's why I was so flustered, because it's all coming back. And so December 16th. And I'm just freaking out. I just don't know what to do. At that point, I've gone through all the emotions 10 times over. I remember just having just being in a state of numbness, right, and just not knowing what to do next. I'm always a pretty optimistic person, always looking for I was going to plan G, plan H, H1, H2. I was going through all of it. I was like, oh, okay, if that can't work, then I'll do this. Oh, I'll do that. I'm pretty, think on my feet, but all of it was not working.
Right.
And so I go to graduation. From the audience perspective, cried. It was rough, but they're supporting my friends, so proud of it, but it was just rough. Then I moved out of my apartment because we did a 6-month lease, so I couldn't even be in the apartment I was in. Then I fly back to the DMV to my grandparents' house for Christmas on Christmas Eve, excuse me. And I proceed to then have the worst Christmas like ever, because I had to the family vibe was off. I think everyone was just really going through stuff, and we're not really an upfront with our feelings, a sharing, emotionally speaking family. And 2, I had to tell them, on top of me not graduating, I also lost my job offer. I'm kind of homeless right now, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't meet it. Obviously, when you hear that, that's not, the best, but unfortunately wasn't met with great support or encouragement. And so really just darkest moment, just one of the darkest periods of my life was that week. And so I was going to stay up there to like MLK weekend, but I decided, I was like, I need to go back to Texas. Like, I can't be in this environment right now. So I fly back to Dallas for New Year's Eve and meet up with my now roommate, Kayla, who has just like really just been such a rock and a supporter for me. And we had like the best New Year's. I'm like, it's gonna be a new year, like 2020, all that stuff is behind me, foolish, but going in, I was like, oh, new decade, 2020, let's go, it's gonna be live. I had like a great New Year's, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna new plan. I'll just go back to Waco. I'll take the classes online to MCC, which I signed up for, and I was good to go. I can take them both in the same semester since it was long-term versus the mini semester. So I was like, okay, I'll start them. It was like January 15th, I want to say, to March 4th. So shorter than a Baylor semester. I was like, I can just crank these out real quick, both online, go to, find a job in Waco, live with Kayla. And then, once I graduate in May, head out of Waco, peace, I'm out. So, things are coming together. It was just, again, just very hard, tough, trying to encourage myself. I would kind of like be nervous to like go on campus or go to like HEB because I'd see people and they'd be like, wait, you're still here? I was like, yeah. And like, because it's so hard to just be like, so, the 5 things I just told you, it's kind of hard to just say that, while you're just, exchanging, hey and remarks at HEB, you can't really, you can't, say it in like a nice little box, a nice little sound bite for someone just in passing, especially if you don't know them too well. It's kind of like a lot to take in or a lot to emotionally hear. And so I remember just being really embarrassed and would really isolate myself and only go out if I absolutely had to. And I was like, I have to go get a job. So thankfully I got a job at Magnolia, working at the bakery there. And I would just do that during the day, and then my classes at night. Things were going, again, just really sad and just confused as to why this is all happening. But I was like, finish the classes, together. Like, you're so close. 6 credits left. Like, you cannot come this far to just not finish. So March comes up. I turn my classes, finish them, or turn my assignments in, finish my classes on March 4th. March 6th, I transfer them into Baylor. Nice, easy. March 7th, my friend Sean, Sean Udofia, he turned 21 on March 7th, so we go to Austin to celebrate him. March 8th, my roommate and I, celebratory last spring break.
Sean's 21?
Yeah.
Wait, 21 in March?
Yeah, he's a baby.
I'm older than Sean?
Yeah. Oh my God, he might be mad if I said that. I'm so sorry.
No, I know. Wow, I never knew that. Okay, shout out. I know your age.
LOL. Oh my gosh, he hates that too. I wish he could be mad at me. Well, I don't know if he'll see this. Anyways, he turns 21, so we go down to Austin to celebrate him. And then March 8th, fly out to West Palm Beach and then go to the Bahamas on a cruise.
Right.
Last spring break, let's live it up, enjoy it.
You're in Corona?
Yeah, no. Let me hold up. I got you. Let me keep going. So we go on this cruise, right? And so when we go to Austin, we saw, on 6th Street, we saw like the South by Southwest signs, and like it was like, oh, like it's canceled. That's so sad. Like we'd be down here for it, blah blah blah. And then it was like jokes at that point. Still, it was just like, oh, like watch out, like you gonna get the roto, they'll get the roto, blah blah blah. And I was like, nah, like I wash my hands, I'm good. We were going on a cruise ship. Now looking back, I don't know how, like only God. But I was like, oh, it's fine. Like it's spring break, chill. So we go March 8th to 11th. in those 4 days, just 4 days, everything changed, right? So we go there, we go in, we had to fill out a form. I actually made a video about it, and I look back and I'm like, oh, we were so naive. Like, we like fill out like a help form. They gave us some hand sanitizer for the boat, asked us if we were coming from like China or anywhere. And so I still think it was a joke. And so we get on the cruise. We purposely didn't sign up for the Wi-Fi package. We just wanted to be, phones free, just use it for cameras. Really enjoyed ourselves, our last spring break as college students. And then as we're coming back to America, to West Palm Beach, as we get cell phone service again, we're close enough, my phone was like on the middle of the table, and through like notifications, it like falls off the table. And I was like, okay, maybe that's just people texting me or like, calls, whatever. And I was like, okay, nothing to worry about. So I go shower, I come back out. Kayla is watching the TV, and ESPN was the only channel we got of all the channels on TV. ESPN was the only clear one we got from the boat. It was weird. And it was like, Rudy Gobert tested positive. The NBA is suspending season. NFL, MLB, MLS, NCAA tournament is, canceled. And then like there's this guy, not Woj, but this other guy, I'm blanking on his name right now, was talking about how like China's basically shut their season down and like NBA is falling too. And I was just like, wait, what? And I was like, is this the same thing we were talking about? Like this Rona? Like, is this still Rona? And then we check our phones. It's like Harvard canceled class, Duke's canceled class, MIT, everyone's going online, blah, blah. And I'm just like, wait, what is happening? Like, what's happening? So we get off the boat. We're in Palm Beach, just hanging out for the day. Our flight was pretty late. It was like 9:30. So we just hang out, go to the zoo, do a lot of outdoor things that we cannot do now, just trying to enjoy ourselves. And then around 4:35-ish in the afternoon, before we went to Cheesecake Factory for dinner, President Livingstone sent out the email of just like spring break's been extended, classes are gonna be online. We're like, oh, again, still so nice. Spring break part 2, it's not over. Like, bro, we're about to go to an airport. Girl, both, because we had a layover in Atlanta and then Atlanta to Dallas because we were doing Delta. We're like, girl, forget Atlanta, forget Dallas. We can just go to Mexico. Like, where are you trying to go? We can just pick, we're like walking down the gate. You can just pick like, where are we trying to go next? But we both had to go to work, so we had to come back to Waco. And so at that point, it was still like a joke, still funny. And then we get back or just in the layover, when we touch down in Atlanta, which is the busiest airport in the country, right. Seeing all the masks, seeing how just their sanitation of the bathrooms, which I've never seen them go that in depth before. And then hearing like the overhead speaker of their mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, talking about just like wash your hands, do this, wear a mask. And I'm just like, oh, we're like, this is a thing. Like, we're really like in a pandemic. Like, this is like, I think we should take this more seriously than we are. And then for me, working at Magnolia, that weekend I was coming back, and why we had to come back early is because we had Spring at the Silos, which is one of the biggest events they have. They have thousands of vendors coming, concerts, huge thing. So I was like, oh, we have Spats. Like, how's that gonna work? So it turns out Spats got canceled of like the concerts, and the vendors had to be canceled, but we were still normal hours. Sorry, it's kind of limpy, but it has a point. I'm trying to bring it in. And so, we get back to Dallas. We're just like, okay, we're here. Thank God we made it back. Work tomorrow, we'll see. So I go to work the next day, and it's just like so different. Like, everyone, like, gloves on, hand sanitizer, so many sandy wipes, everything. And then from Thursday to Saturday, just literally day by day, hour by hour, there was things we couldn't do anymore. Like, it was just like, don't do this, don't do that, stop doing this, to just that, don't do this, blah, blah, blah. And then too, at my lunch break especially, I'd get news about like, Texas Hall of Fame is closing, the libraries are closing, like everything is shutting down. Idris Elba has it, Tom Hanks has it, like it's, starting to get more and more real. And once my last day of work there was March 16th. And I remember very, very vividly, I walk in, instead of working a full shift, I just did 1 to close, which 1 to 7. And I walked into the clock-in room, and all the managers were like on their phones, like dead silent. And I'm like, what's up? Like, tell me now before I start working. Like, what's up? And they're like, we're gonna be closed indefinitely right now. Or like, we're gonna be closed because of what's happening. And I was like, oh, good. Like, don't tell the desk. You know, don't ensue panic. I was like, I'll try my best. I was like, okay, I'll try my best. And so, so then 2 days later, Governor Abbott instated the stay-at-home order and quarantine life started as we know it.
Whoa,
so I bring that all to say,
really followed that quarantine, like
right? And here we are about to have round 2 because that's a whole other thing. But this is like, I'm gonna have, this is the point. I'm gonna get to the point. I'm kind of long with my stories as it's not obvious. And so that was, and 2, what I learned on that Monday was that graduation was gonna get pushed back to August.
Right. Which may not happen anymore.
Or yeah, I don't even know. I don't know. It's supposed to be August 14th for me or August 13th. But I don't know.
June 25th. They said things should be better. Would have been better now.
It's going to be at the stadium too versus Farrell Center. It's going to be at McLean. So I don't know. Anyways, I bring that all up to say, just as things for me, very selfishly, but you know, this is about me, I guess. We're getting better. We're starting to turn up. We're, you know, like, oh, okay, like finish my bachelor's degree, graduation coming, I'll work and apply to job, like maybe get AT&T back or do a master's degree. It all just 10 times, like, you know, January, December, November was child's play compared to what March and April brought, right? And from that, now with, you know, great retrospect and, you know, hindsight, everything's 2020, I have just a new found understanding of uncertainty, right, and a newfound understanding of what I put my faith into and of how we have really been conditioned I feel like maybe that's, I don't know if that's too strong of a word, but yeah, I was like, let me condition you there to put our faith and believe in just these systems and these ideologies and just these, you know, backup plans that are virtually based on nothing, like are just really based on faith and faith alone. And we've just all been some, you know, have not been obedient and they've been, you know, punished for not doing so, but we've just all been really blindly loyal to these things. And now we're seeing how those things are terrible infrastructures and are built on just a hope, wish, and a prayer, you know, quite literally, and have just been wiped from under us. And so I say all to say, to answer your question, being now a member of the class of 2020, hopefully I graduate this year, we'll see. I've just learned that with uncertainty and with what you put your faith in, that dictates your response to life. And the only, you know, thing that's certain about life is its uncertainties and its ebbs and flows. And this is obviously a huge curveball for us. No one could have seen this coming, or that's arguable, but at least not to this extent, right, of what is ahead of us or what we've all been through as in a world, but of just how we can respond to it and our reaction to it. And I think that's a lesson that will stay with me, or will definitely stay with me for the rest of my life, and has now helped me approach how I'll definitely continue to live the rest of my life. Yeah. Hope that answered the question. That's kind of long.
That's great. That's awesome. That is.
I'm long.
I mean, shoot, I don't know. I was going into the story. Of course, remember storytelling. Like we just talking, like, man. But that's such a good point. And to be quite honest, and again, it's IG. But whenever you posted like your Instagram photos and that in like your graduation, it's like, oh man, look at her, bitch. Look, she's doing so good. And but you peel the layers behind that. That just also like just proves that everybody is going through something. Everybody, there is a story behind everyone, no matter how happy they might seem, how sad they are. But like there's a deeper core, and that's just a. I mean, honestly, what I'm really thinking, I think about. I'm reading this book. Where's the book? I put Olivia on. It's called The Science of Self-Realization.
Okay.
Yeah, my homie Jaden gave that to me. He met a monk. And then the monk gave it to him. And so he gave it to me. Shout out to Jaded Treasure, that guy. I love him so much. And it's talking about Hinduism, right? Just like, okay, cool. Just a good read, just to broaden your mind and perspective. And just like I know that one of the major symbols in Hinduism, I learned in my theater history class, and I have a lot of Hindu friends, is the lotus flower. And like, and I guess in the same thing, like with in Tupac, rose, the rose that grew from the concrete. It's like through all this pressure, the rose, like, through it all, through the lessons, you're able to see the blooming and the blossoming of that. And like the lotus flower and the rose wouldn't be what it is today. Like, oh man, your environment might be crazy or whatever, but whether it's the mission, like, okay, stay focused, stay on the grind, but just being and allowing life to happen and how you're going to continue to flow with it, how beautiful it can be in the midst of the chaos.
Right. Yeah.
That's so good.
So yeah, that's so real too. And I feel like we're really just seeing that. Cause you hear stuff like that and you're privy to it at times, but once you really live through it and see it for yourself, unfiltered, rose-colored glasses broken, it's really eye-opening.
Right. But despite that, I bet like a great thing has happened. Like, you are doing your book reviews. Talk about that. Like, what made you start it? Of course, you are a huge bookworm. And of course, with journalism. And I do have some questions about that too. But like, what made you want to start, that content, and why you're doing it?
Yeah, so this is my little setup, actually, my little bookshelf here. I have another one over there. It really just started with me. I would always read at work at my lunch break. And because I would just go on my phone, but I was like, nah, let me just get a break from screen. So I just bring a book. And people would always ask me, like, oh, what are you reading? I just like talk to them about it really briefly. And they'd be like, oh, okay, interesting, blah, blah, blah. And then from there, I was like, oh, let me like post a picture of this and like just talk about it, like give a little highlight about it. Just breaking down the basics of like who I think it'd be good for, title, name, genre, whatever. And people would like really DM me or text me like, oh, I've heard about that book, or like, oh yeah, I've been, wanting to look into something in that genre, like, thanks for letting me know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. And what really set it off, actually, it's right here, was this book, Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. And I posted this on my Instagram story and asked if like I should do a blog post on it, and it was like a resounding yes. And from posting that blog post, I got like over like 10, 20 people who like I don't even know that well, just people reaching out to me being like, thank you so much for sharing that. I've downloaded the ebook, I bought it, I read your blog post, want to read it, like, and it's really helped me in my career, especially now being online and having the different, navigate corporate America differently. And so from just seeing that of just people I don't really know that well, we just follow each other on social media, I was like, oh, there might be a real like space for this, might be a real need for this. And then too, with all the time I've had with quarantine, I feel like everyone's really just adapted to, a new hobby or stumbled upon a new thing they're going to look into more. And so that was, for me, that was reading. And I was like, let me just talk about books that I'm reading and thus encourage others to read, but also show why I think reading is so just paramount, and it's just more than like trying to be like elitist or like, like, because I think reading can really be synonymous with just like, oh, like you're stuck up, you're too good, or you're trying to be so hoity-toity, better than everyone else. But reading is really a great way to just invest in yourself and renew your mind and just introduce you. You can read one book that can honestly change your life, because it can introduce you to ideas, new concepts that you can apply to your life from then on, and that's just change your trajectory. And so I just really wanted to share that with people. And also too, on a more deeper subconscious level, growing up, I grew up in very predominantly white neighborhoods, suburbia, all day every day. But my mom would be really conscious of us having Black spaces, so like church, ran track, just other things like that. And at track meets, I'd always bring books because it's a lot. Track is the king of rushing and then waiting. Like, you do all this rush and then you like wait for 4 hours, you
Right.
wait 2 hours, and then, you sitting there in your heat with your, so, and all that time, everyone would just be on their phones or like eating or talking. And I was like, I'm just gonna read some books. And I'd always just get roasted for it. Tanaka like just roasted. Everyone just like really clowned me for it. And it was just, so it kind of made me self-conscious about it. But it was also, now looking back, I'm glad I still did it because it really helped me to get where I am now. And I thus went to more normalize it of like, oh, this is a Black girl who talks about books and isn't, forcing it or being like a quote unquote nerd about it, or being weird about it, just normalizing it. So that was the big thing too, of just like a face like me doing this and hopefully encouraging others.
Yeah, that's good. That's super good. That's super important. And with that, my coach, and my basically my second mom, my guidance counselor in high school for college, they said that they're like, just like the power of reading, it like it. I'm a huge bookworm. I love books. I love reading. I love history, and I mean, of course, Black Lives Matter. But you looking at the history of African American and the African diaspora, and during the Spanish Inquisition, and how they were taking people, and what was one of the main thing that they did. They said, do not teach the Negro how to read and write.
Talk about it. Yes.
And it's like, hey, like, if you want to hide something from a Black person, a stereotype is give them a book. Yeah, a book. And honestly, and I think right now in this moment of time, it's not even a Black person, but for any person, especially in this microwave digital age, like, and that's where, I'm not sure, have you seen the movie Fahrenheit 451, the Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. I read the book, but then like the Michael B. Jordan version, like burning the books. And honestly, I really feel like we are burning the books by ignoring them, and we're burning our eyes even more. And it's just so crazy. And when you see, like, I remember just the huge scene when Montag was on the city screen, and they're like, everybody's like, yeah, and all the hearts and the likes and the likes and the likes, right? And I'm like, I remember watching ESPN during spring break. And they have that NBA promo of LeBron James and James Harden, and they have the screen of the likes and likes, and now the Facebook Live. Like when you can legitimately go live and people can like, comment, like, comment. And I'm like, we low-key
real.
dystopian.
Yeah, it's like we're here. At the times, Hunger Games is not that far. It's like we're here.
1984, especially like I just, man, that book, reading it back in middle school and high school again.
Yeah, 8th grade. Obviously, yeah, shouts to 8th grade. Yeah.
Like you like being the bookworm and being able to see, I guess, and I guess that can be like a conversation of like conspiracy theories, or like people, or like honestly, visionaries in writing and authoring, like in them coming to life in real life. How, like, how is your mind working? Like, how do you feel about that?
Like, in what aspect? Like, just in general?
I don't know. Like, I mean, it's like, what do you think about it? Like, I mean, like, you just see, like, I mean, the greatest saying is like, a great saying is like, art imitates life.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying now. Through all this free time that we all have, a lot of time for self-reflection, a lot of time to just sit back and think, I've really have reflected on like what's in me and my talents, my gifts and abilities, as well as the external shell that I possess, and what that means and what that can help or elevate or whatever. So I've really learned, especially now, like with everything, with Black Lives Matter and the protests and everything, of just learning how important just ownership and self-reliance is, right? And those two things really are now at the forefront of my mind and are really kind of directing what I do. So launching, the book, the cover to cover is what my series is called. Launching those are just me speaking and owning books and talking about the lessons I learned from them and what other people can learn from them, through my writing, through whether that be blogging or just, worth a publication, talking about, issues and disinview. It's a very whitewashed, spinned, filtered version, right? So just trying my best to read books from, decades ago, from centuries ago. I'm about to get The Miseducation of the Negro. Just read The Bluest Eye, trying to get a lot more James Baldwin, like just really rich writers like that. Not just Black writers, but just in general, like just things, and trying to help that shape my mind and open my eyes up to things that I can do now to help the next generation and help things keep going. So I really feel as though through all my work, my goal is just to have people be seen and encourage others and just normalize this, just being a dark-skinned Black woman in the world, in the country, and just hope that through that I can, just, I'm feeling kind of rambling, but bring light and educate people. I think, going back to what you said about how, reading was like, back in the slave days where, that can get you killed. Like if they found you with a book, like that could, that can get you killed if, I watched a documentary the other day. I don't know if you heard of it, called Out the Shadows. And it was like, have you heard of that?
Favorite documentary that I've watched so far. Who put you
Tanaka. When I tell you, that just, mine, crazy. But just, again, just like realizing like the illusions of things and how to just, I'm trying to best help people break out of that, because that's what has kept, supremacy, and that's what's kept these systems going for years and years and years, decades, centuries. And if we just break that illusion, if we just distort that image, then people can like wake up to it and thus really be equal and have equity.
Right. And don't even get me started.
Yeah,
With
oh my gosh.
and then, bro, the Satanist up in Hollywood. And that's what now I remember growing up. Everybody used to like my grandma and my grandpa always said like, that's the devil in Africa. Like,
Right, that's the devil's music. That's the devil's music.
I mean, like I remember watching an interview of Spoken Reasons and Devon Franklin. When Spoken Reasons talk about, because Spoken Reasons, he got out of Hollywood, but he's trying to make his way come back in. And he asked Devon, like, so, about Hollywood. And then when Devon said, it's like, yeah, it's a really dark place. Like, I mean, there's some places in there where, like you can get lost. And if you, like, your ship moves, and that's a Lord willing, that's kind of like the industry. Well, see, not even an industry that I want to get into. I mean, I love to act. I mean, that's one of my majors, right? But now, like, and I've always, shoes. Growing up, I used to go to the JFK Museum with my dad, and I grew up. Who killed JFK when I was 6? And I remember going on the website, and it just showed like how it had all the documents were like, okay, the CIA was the one that actually did it. Who knows? I don't know. Lord, please, I hope.
There's a whole museum dedicated to it, but you still don't know when you leave.
Right? But like I've always been, I guess, a little bit privy, and I've always listened. I've always had people that were quote unquote conscious or woke, but speak kind of life into me and always taught me to question everything. And especially when you look at like Out of the Shadows and the news, and that's exactly what I was about to get into, like, with you in journalism. And I mean, if there's one thing that Mr. Trump got right, the news be fake sometimes.
You're right. If we can give him credit for one thing, he did make us look at the news different.
The news can't, like, the news, and remember just that dialogue and that understanding. Like, I'm not sure if you saw, but I mean, of course, everybody saw that. How CNN, no, not CNN, some news network, maybe was it NBC Tonight? They got the footage from Italy, put that as New York, or how they did that. And also for the protests in Minneapolis, they actually got that from like a trailer, a clip from World War Z, the movie, and put that like, this is Minneapolis right now.
Oh no.
And I'm like, Well, I'm not sure if you have dreams or aspirations of going into like journalism and news. Like, shout out to the homegirl Kennedy Denby. We salute you.
Yes, on the
I see
ground,
you. We
my
see you.
girl.
Um, yeah, like I wanted to get like why journalism and the state of journalism today, and
Sure.
yeah,
Okay, this could be another long-winded, so brace
and
yourself.
no,
So, from a very young age, I was really fortunate to be exposed to it. I was always getting in trouble, messing around in school. Not like bad trouble, but just always trying to talk to people and never raise my hand, don't have indoor outdoor voice, never mastered that skill, So just always just getting into stuff, always, Savannah, principal's office, blah, 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 just blah, blah. And so in 5th grade, I get called to the principal's office. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Like, what did I do? Like, try not to self-incriminate. I'm just thinking, I'm like, wait. Like, what did I do? Like, I've been good. And I remember taking like a real scenic walk around school to go to the principal's office. And I get there, and it's Miss Schultz. I don't know what her official title was, but she ran the announcement. She did it. The principal and the vice principal. And they're just all sitting there. And I walk in, I'm like, hi, they're like, you're not in trouble. I was like, oh, okay, thank God. Like, I was like, all right, what's up? And they're like, we would like you to do the morning announcement. We're going to start transitioning to students to do it. And so from that day on, the first day I did, I remember it very vividly. I was just bitten by the bug and just exposed to now what I know as journalism. And so from 5th grade to 12th grade, I was involved in morning announcements in some form or fashion. And then when I got to college, I, again, pursued it as a major, was able, first semester right away, start with 2303, which is reporting and writing, as well as intro to mass comm. And my goal going in to journalism, my childhood dream, was to be a sports reporter. I grew up loving sports, ultimate tomboy. Calvin Cambridge was like my style icon. So, I had the, like Mike was everything to me. So I had the cornrows and the tracksuits. So bad. It was so like I was such a tomboy, such a tomboy. In Allen Iverson too, because grew up in the DMV. So just very obsessed with sports, loved it so much, and really looked up to women in it, even though I know it was a male-dominated industry. But seeing like Pam Oliver, Doris Burke, Jamel Hill, Carrie Champion, etc. I was like, oh, I want to do that. I don't know what that is, but I want to do it. And so I get to college, work for the Lariat early on. I get to go out, cover sports, do it, on the sideline, do my hit, interview coaches, players, get the shots, get the killer goals, whatever. And I was really enjoying it. And I was like, oh, I love this. And I got to do the news show, oh my gosh, I'm really blanking, on Friday mornings. And I had the C block and it was sports with savvy. So it was like, really like living my dream, right? And I just remember just not being fulfilled. Like I was like, oh, this is cool, but just wanting more. And when I remember seeing this quote from like one of those like boss babe, female hustler Instagram accounts that I follow. And it was like, normally tells you the moment when your childhood dreams meet your like woman adulthood dreams. And that happens. And I was like, oh yeah, no one really does, tell you about that moment. And that moment happened to me my mid of my sophomore fall semester. I was doing the sports thing, very much a one-man band, like, setting up the camera, standing in front of it, editing, presenting it, doing the newscast. And I was up to do an op-ed. We rotate op-eds every week, and for writers, we do it once a month, and op-eds are short for just opinion editorials. And it was my time was up, and I don't know what happened leading up to, I think maybe just realization of just my life, or maybe something happened. And instead of just kind of taking it like the easy way out, quote unquote, of just being like, oh, I like this Netflix show, or like, oh, this part of campus is cool, or like, oh, we need, why does, Waco need a Trader Joe's, or, something like, kind of, really easy, something all can get behind. I was like, I'm going to talk about how Black people, or just minorities, people of color, have to really walk on eggshells in this world. We really have to assimilate and suppress ourselves to make it in this world. I was like, that's a problem. And so I titled it Minorities Have to Walk on Eggshells, right? So I just write it real quick, just really rant on the same laptop I'm on now, just go in. And I submitted it, and I was like, Savannah, can you come to the office after the staff meeting? I was like, uh-oh. And I graduated too. Oh, I could really talk mess. Let me not. But the degree's in the mail. We're good. But I get brought in by the chief, the opinion editor, and the student media advisor. We're in a little small room, and they're just like, they have my document on the screen, and we're going line by line. They're like, okay, like, we like this, and it's just like, but what? It's my opinion. Like, I remember one time, or during the meeting, she told me that I should talk about white people touching Black hair. Like, I should mention that. And I was just like, the fact that you, a white girl, are telling me to put that in, like, is that, like, I feel like that's not what we're getting at here. We're going deeper than that, right? And so we get it published. I had to really, shouts to Dr. Moody and Professor Hernandez, who I'm gonna miss dearly when I leave Baylor. I went to their offices and was like, can you read this for me? Just they're pushing back on publishing it, giving me just the runaround. Like, I really want it published. They're like, no, go for it. If you need help, we got you. And so we get it published, very grit and nail, but I was like, over their shoulder, like, come on, just hit enter. Like, come on, let's do it together. Like, deep breath in. And we publish it. This is like mid-October. And right away, people texting me, DMing me, stopping me on campus, stopping me at the bus stop. Thank you so much for doing that. You articulated feelings that I didn't realize I had, or just thoughts of how I've been feeling on this campus that I've just never really seen in the Lariat before until now. So thank you so much for doing that. And I was just like really just taken aback. I was like, I'm just writing about, like, that was just straight off the dome, no rehearsal, no research, just me and my laptop and, spotty air bear, and just, doing whatever. And when I saw the reaction and how it really touched people, I realized that all the hard work I would do with these sports stories of just like, grinding out, showing up to games, doing all this stuff, not, being afraid to get, my hands dirty, doing, the full one-man bands, that never reached people and really connected with people, unlike me, just myself, my raw self, my authentic self, right? And so in that moment, I then realized the importance of sharing Black stories, which, now we have the verbiage for it, but back then, it wasn't as, popular to say things like that, or really, known to say like that, but just sharing my experience, and thus my perspective and view of the world was needed and has been so deprived for so long, or just so whitewashed or manipulated for so long. So from that moment on, I really just changed my outlook and approach to writing, or approach to journalism, of just now having the goal of owning my own media platform, right, of having ownership and having gatekeeping power and editorial decision, creative licensing, etc., to put out stories that can not only just change the conversation, but really address situations, people's feelings, and just call out things that have for so long either been really just watered down, or just worse, neglected and acted like it's not there. So yes, that's really what I got into journalism for, and that is now what I want to keep doing. That's what I'm now working towards, of just owning a piece, because again, back to what I said earlier about just ownership and self-reliance, like, I remember my roommate was telling me there's this like quote that Dr. King said about just how at times he's been nervous about having like Black people integrate into like white America at times, right, and how, when we do, not like, well, I'm kind of getting, rocky territory here, but not integrate in the sense of like mixing.
You can talk.
Or, but not even like just like mixing, like racially speaking, like physically speaking, but mixing the sense of like, if we're gonna be in quote unquote mainstream white America, then we're gonna have to, dial it back on, and like that's not worth it to me, right? So it's just like we should just own it ourselves, and then just grow it ourselves, and thus build that equity and build that power.
No, absolutely.
So
That's
yeah.
true. That is so.
So that's my approach, and that's why I got into it.
That's amazing. That's so good. And I mean, and again, like, shout out to. I mean, yeah, that's good. I mean, and that's I definitely align with that because again, out of the shadows, just the narrative and just how media is one of the biggest thing that can influence and change a whole culture.
So powerful.
Like, not even in the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind. I'm an intern at this the second largest production group studio in Atlanta. Shout out, man! That was last minute. And
Nice.
the CEO he interviewed me. So like we have talks. We talk
Wow.
every week, and we be talking for 2 hours. I told him about you can print a 3D print a house for only $4,000. That's a plug to everybody. If you want to buy some land, build that little house, Airbnb it, or go run away when everything goes down.
All right, that's the little hunker down.
But when
Nice.
when talking about that, that is uh man, I salute you in terms of that because that's something I want to do, man. Like just subconsciously, it's just the impression of images and sounds and music and how you know, man, because I don't
It
know.
needs knowingly and unknowingly.
Right, right. And ownership, yeah, I mean, and that's the conversations everybody's talking about. But for me, whenever I hear ownership, it's like, okay, how are we gonna own? So what are we going to own? That's the
Right.
thing.
Which
Because
is very valid.
now, like, I saw it on your story. You posted it about LeBron James and Spring Hill Entertainment. That's
Yeah.
amazing. But who backed it up again? Some UC investments, another group, and of course, now it comes now it's with the notion of with with the hurrah. I was rewatching Malcolm X, and you think of the the NOI and how their movement is like we need complete separation, and then like but now I was talking to Ezreal a couple days ago, 2 days I think it was on Monday, yeah, when I was door dashing, and we were having a conversation. I think King's reality this moment right here right now is getting closer with just like how everybody has been has finally said okay it's enough. Like I mean it took a little too long, but hey, thank you for acknowledging and saying that you know what our lives matter too.
Right.
But now like that integration
Glad
is
to hear.
working.
We're
it,
glad to
it
have you.
it's the it is coming, it's coming to fruition, and I think our generation and the generations to come will change that. And once we're able to get past that, then we can also address the ideas of classism and sexism too, because the one thing that I definitely have noticed is like especially when it comes to ownership, and I was talking to Reggie about this a couple days ago, or was it yesterday, and just the idea because I remember like Twitter was talking about title and no name, or you look at J. Cole's song. And J. Cole, and I mean, to be quite honest, I love J. Cole, but I'm like, yo, why are you telling somebody to watch their tone when they had a whole book club this whole time?
Yeah, that song really rode me. I was so excited for it, and then I was like, oh yikes, this is very a letdown.
Right. And then but now you look at this idea of like, okay, shoot, we got Jay-Z, Tidal, Russell Simmons. But then like we talk about those big ownership in like especially media, because it's kind of funny because and this is Malcolm X, like I'm not verbatim, I'm paraphrasing. But he said that I remember listening to one of his interviews, and it's saying the one thing that the Negro, the Black American looks at, we don't necessarily have a political figure to look at whenever we talk about these issues. We always go
And it's like
straight,
that exact video. Yep.
we go straight to the celebrity or the media, right?
Yep.
And then so now, but then also within that, we need to also address this idea of sexism, and then also like, in the rape culture and all that has happened, especially like with people like Russell Simmons, who is a lead with like Def Jam and all that. But you're not necessarily talking about the issues when like that's another thing that's kind of muddy. And but then guess what? Who's the ones that mostly driving the conversation? Black women. And then again, you got your patriarchy and all that. And that's the things I'm talking about. I'm like, oh man, bro, we did, yo, guys, we need to, so funny. I watched this Canon's class episode yesterday. As
Mhm.
Tariq she said, we need to get on code, because once we get on code, then, because whenever all the other white people, they look at us, they get on code. And by the way, people, disclaimer, I love everybody. I love all white people. It's a balance between good and evil. Hello?
Wait, say again, you went out. All I heard was I love white people.
No, no, I said, yeah. So I just want to say a disclaimer to everybody. I love all people. I love people. I love all people. But now it's more of a conversation of good versus evil and breaking down the system that is still here. And but yeah, definitely ownership is the key. But in what ways? Is it going to be ownership like, hey, because especially now, I was actually talking to my coach about this today, you know, everybody and their mom has opened the door for black people to finally be CEOs. Like this Bloomberg report thing. And like, it has like a couple of the black faces and
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
right. And
For
then
like the seats and everything, when they explore that.
right. And then I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's great. And now they're finally opening the doors up, like, okay, yay. Like they reacted very quick. Very, very quick. They're trying to put black people all there. But still, it's this idea. And even in this position right here, like today, like through this podcast, I was like the director, I was the director of diversity. And I'm like, it's
I'm
not
glad you brought that up. Yeah.
it's not your intention. But because of subconsciously, my only leadership position can be director of diversity.
That's it. And they're just like, oh, like, we'll make this to help, but it's going to be our person of color. And if anything, just direct it to her or him or whoever. Yeah. I interned at Volkswagen my sophomore summer, and the diversity team was just 2 Black women. And they're both there for both like 20 plus years, done the whole gamut, very familiar with the company. And it was just the 2 of them together, just trying to figure out how to best approach diversity and inclusion. But it was just literally be 2 of them, and they're just a part of HR. And when it came to picture time, when it came to optics, they're front and center there. And they did a lot of work. There were a lot of effective like ERGs, employee research groups, and a lot of events. I was there for Pride Month. Like it was just a lot of doing things, but it was very much just like, oh, we'll just just categorize that off to D&I.
Right. Yeah, this conversation got dangerous, and I don't care.
And yeah, it's just like I don't know how we can best. I feel like we're having a lot of those conversations too, because like things are on the table now. We're looking at history. We're more aware of things. But now it's just like, okay, but like what do we do? Like so we have all the ingredients, and seems like there's just like how can we make this so that it'll last for generations to come? And that's just I don't know. It's like I don't know where to turn to for the answers for that, and we're needing to start in real time answering that and figuring that out and best navigating that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think personally on my end, I think the number one thing that should be done, I mean, if we're not going to take down this capitalistic structure of how the world works, give people reparations so they can be able to do the stuff that they want to do.
That's really take it back. We have to do 40 acres and a mule, but just something. Just like yeah.
Because historically, each and every other ethnic group has received reparations in form of land and payments. But then
Right.
we'll have it. I'm like, yo, come on, bro. Like, see, I'm first generation American. Like, I was born here in parents' like, so I'm not even necessarily involved in the conversation. But I'm just like, so this is now me as an outsider view, being born in America, having family from there, and listening to family in Africa, and they're like, yo, yeah, you guys, they should just pay them.
Right. Send direct deposit just real quick. Yeah.
Like, and I really think because you give that, I mean, of course, the plight has been for the African American race, for Black people, it's just been economics, really. That's one major thing, that economics, because you give the opportunity and people Like if they built the country, they've helped. They helped. I mean, history shows that they were here before all the Spanish and everybody came, but that's a conversation that people don't want to have yet.
Right. Built the White House, built these, yeah.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent. My bad.
I know we like you do. It's okay. Yeah, I kind of feel like it was gonna come up regardless, but yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I saw this video recently. It might have came out today, but it was Jon Stewart talking about how like when it came to the GI Bill and something else. I'm blanking. But he was talking about the GI Bill and another instance of just Black people being totally excluded from that, of just not getting the proper land, getting the money, getting what was promised to them as they embarked on, that service. So, and thus, because of that, and then, I think maybe it was like in housing or something. Maybe we were talking about like redlining, but, being purposely excluded from these historically just builds up over time. And this is why, there is no financial footing really in this capitalistic society that we're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we can just burn it all down.
What do you think would be a good amount, Tanaka? What would you think? Like if you had Trump's ear, like what would you say?
Shoot, a good amount?
Or quote unquote like what would you think would be a good,
like for a collective or for each of an individual?
I say for individual.
For an individual, I would say a great amount would be, man, I'm an optimist. So legitimately, okay, the BET, Robert Johnson said 750K. I will say, honestly, 1.2 mil and 1.2 mil in addition to that, 10 acres of land. 10 to 15 acres of land.
I think so. Or just property in some form. Yeah,
like, because like 1.2, because I mean, of course, remember that at the end of the day, whatever they're given with that money and that land, if they decide to blow it off. But see, and that's the thing though, because that's and I remember me being a majority white neighborhood as well, and really even fitting into this narrative of saying, believing that I wasn't Black because I sounded white.
Bro, my mom was like, when I got to college, my mom came and visited me her family weekend, and she's like, Savannah, you're Black. She said, I've never seen you like this before. And it was just really funny, but it's so true. Right. It's so deep and, not sunk in place fully, but it's some. You rock it back a little bit.
I fully admit that I was in the sunken place because I remember used to having this narrative that, oh, I don't want to date a Black girl. Because I remember hearing that growing up. It's like, oh, they're loud, or oh, hey, man, they're not pretty. I'm like, what, bro? I'm like, bro, shout out, man. I should have been canceled. Just the way that I thought, because I was so sunken in. Right. So, but then anyway, going to that conversation of like whether that people will like blow that 1.5 million off. But isn't that the same narrative that is actually brought down apart through the media, and also like not being able to get like to seriously like give opportunity? Because I mean, I saw this 1977 article of Joe Biden. I don't want my kids to integrate, to be in a concrete jungle, when he talked about integration. And how Dallas, I found out this week, how Dallas, they didn't integrate until 2002, finally, like all schools. I'm like, whoa.
I saw that, yeah.
Whoa. So instead, 1.2 mil, 10 acres of land at least. And then after that gives people a great opportunity to be able to seriously, because see, this idea of pulling your bootstraps up, and right. I know you're a hard worker. I know I'm a hard worker. Amazing, great. Shout out to my family that were able to do this. My mom and my dad and my auntie are millionaires, so they did it, right? But at the same time, though, I mean, you almost gave each and every other person a head start more. And whether it's the Irish, because when I purchased my gun, I'm a gun owner now. because you got to stay
Ooh,
safe on these streets. When I
with
was
the
talking, I was talking to this the gun dealer, and he used to be he was a U.S. Navy, and he was part of he signed up to be in a labor union when he came from New York. He moved from California, moved to New York, and he has Irish descent. And so the labor union was like, and there was a labor strike. They said, "Hey, since you're Irish and I know you, I'm gonna give you the job right ahead. You don't have to wait in line." And then, but he said, and the guy behind it, because he like before him, there was somebody that was black, and he said, "Oh, you have to go wait in line." He said, and then after that, when that happened, it was quite as like very like it took him aback because he said, "That's so unfair. You know what? I'm not gonna work with you. I'm gonna do my own thing." And then he said, like, I didn't realize that was racism. I thought racism was more overt. But that's when it's like him being able to recognize. Shout out, he's married to a sister, white guy too. Like it's amazing because like, whoa. He said that's unfair. And
right.
and he's a Republican of Republican, if you would put labels on that. And he said, I believe that they should get money. So I'm like, oh.
There you go. And yeah, you bring up a great point of just opportunity, of just the chance to be in the room. Talk about the meeting after the meeting, just being in those conversations, being in those rooms. That's so valuable too.
Right. But of course, you got stuff to do. I got stuff to do.
I know this took a turn, but we're
Uh,
good.
but I have one last question.
Yes.
I ask everybody this question. What do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh. I remember seeing a quote, I want to say it was from Maya Angelou, of saying your legacy is how many lives you've touched or like how many people you've helped.
Right.
Paraphrasing heavily, but along those lines. And I really want to believe that, and I really would like my life to reflect that. I really would hope that when news of my death hits people, it would trigger and bring memories of me being welcoming and encouraging and willing and being vulnerable with them for the ultimate betterment of them and just helping others. I really hope that through my words and through video and through just media and all aspects of it, I can just help others, help the next generation make it a little bit easier than what we went through, what I went through. So I hope I can do that. And then too, on a Baylor note, I really hope that I can get to so I guess that'd be like life versus like Baylor legacy. I really hope I could get to a point financially where I can help have MA become its own building, like on campus, like have like a campus address, as well as helping like revamp Castle Lots to just be more inclusive and just a more representative of its surrounding worlds.
Right.
Those are my big things. But yeah.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Well, this is the last segment of the show. It's the Speak Life segment where I get to speak life to my guests because James says there's death and power in the tongue. So you gotta speak life. Man, your story is wild, and that's only just senior year. I would love to sit down and be able to listen to like your full story. Like that'd be awesome. Anyway, that in itself is just, man, Savannah. Wow, I never would have expected that. Like at all. Man, I love absolutely everything that you're doing, and you already are creating and making a change through the media in your video right at this moment. And I can already see it's going to continue to grow. Super grateful for just the way how you continue to advocate, you continue to support other people, and how you're utilizing your platform to be able to provide a voice. And it's very important. And I want to let you know that I'm inspired and touched by you. And even though this is like our first time actually talking, this seems
Yeah.
yo, we've been friends, we clicked it off like that, and it's such an honor, and I can see how you are allowing this idea of vulnerability to be present in everything that you're doing. And in that, I just want to say I'm grateful for all the things that I've done, and I'm proud of you man, you're about to go travel to Paris. You're about to go learn in Paris. Like, that's dope. And I mean, like that's you graduated from Baylor. You are educated. You are smart. You are powerful, and you about ownership. And just that in itself is just another testament to say, man, what you're gonna do in the next what you're gonna do with your life is gonna be very dangerous and it's gonna be very amazing. And I'm super excited for what is to come, and I'm grateful. So nothing but love. I love you so much as a sister in Christ and as a fellow creative and just everything that you're doing, man. I'm thank you so much for making the time out just to be here.
Yeah, likewise, I can say all the same about you. Like I said, when I DM'd you, it's just like there's certain people who either I do know well or don't that I just really look to and just check in with them. It's like if they can keep doing it, they're going, I can do it too. So, and you're definitely one of those people. And I'm so thankful that you invited me to do this. I was so nervous going in of sharing my story because, vulnerability is not my jam, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I was able to give this time.
Yeah, guys, man, this has been filled with a lot of gems. Y'all digest it. Campus.
Read a book. Any books. What was the book again? Bring the book up that you were talking about.
This?
Yes. Just read some. If you want to start there.
Yeah, just start there. Start anywhere.
Anywhere.
Episode 227. We are